So, as always, let's start with the disclaimer. This session is organized by Valory in order to educate people about Olas and developing autonomous services. Valory is one of the core contributors to the Olas ecosystem, and all the content we are providing here in this video is an expression of our view and does not constitute financial advice of any kind. I am Jose, so I'm an engineer at Valory, founding member of the Olas DAO, and my background is mainly on cryptography and security. Okay, now let's start with the composition of FSM. So this is what allows us to combine different ABCI apps or FSM apps into a bigger one. So we can have the functionalities, several functionalities. We can reuse these functionalities for different services. And this mechanism allows us to generate this composed finite state machine. When we execute this composition, usually we need, besides the skill that implements the business logic of our service, we need an additional skill, which is, let's say, the composition skill, which is simply a boilerplate skill that combines all the skill together in a place. So this has to be done in a different skill, usually. And this will be the skill that will be imported by the agent in the agent configuration. So to be able to compose an FSM app skill, when you define your FSM app, you need to define what is known as initial and final rounds. So the initial rounds are the rounds where you can enter this finite state machine or a particular finite state machine. And the final rounds is where you can exit this finite state machine to link with another finite state machines. I will show a diagram about this later. And the composition skill simply defines how these different FSMs are linked together, how they are wired. And we have this ABCI app transition mapping class, which is simply a class that says the final state of this finite state machine goes to this initial state of this other finite state machine. So as an example, I think you saw a similar example, but maybe this is a little bit more complete than in the video for the session related to the trader. So as an example, let's assume we have these 3 FSM apps. As I mentioned, you can define the initial states and the final states for each one of these FSM apps. So this means that I can link final states with initial states of another FSM app. So in this example, I'm going to define the transitions this way. So I have this final set of final states here, and I am linking this way to one initial state on this finite state machine app 2, and the other initial state here, and on an initial state on another FSM app. And then I'm going to rewire the final states for these finite state machines, again, to loop back to some other state here. By the way, this is a mistake. I just realized this cannot be the case because this should be included in the initial states as well. So these initial states actually should cover this one here. Otherwise, I cannot execute this link here. I cannot enter here. So this initial state actually aggregates this state here as well. I will correct this on the slides. And this is the resulting. So after I apply this composition of these 3 finite state machine, this is the resulting finite state machine. As you can see here, these final states here, actually, we don't do anything on these states. These are just placeholder states. So this is why they are ignored when I compose the finite state machine. So they are actually removed, these states. So this is just, let's say, the mechanism, the framework has to indicate that I can transit outside here. So this is removed, and if I just clean up a little bit this remove final states, this will be how my composed finite state machine will look like. So again, this state 1.3 is also an initial state. Okay, so we have a question, Carlos.
Yes, is there a way for a final state to be linked to multiple initial states from other FSM apps?
Yeah, but in this case, sorry. Let me go back here. So you mean, can I link this to two different states here? But if you do this, then how this machine knows which one needs to transfer? Then, if you link these to two states.
Yeah, I was assuming if we have different FSM apps, maybe one state can trigger different applications.
Mm-hmm.
Is it possible? No.
No, because usually, let's say, the actual final business logic of this application, of this FSM app, will end up here. Okay, so from this state, I have 3 ways of exiting, which are determined by 3 events, event C, D, and E here. Okay, and then I simply add this as a placeholder here, to know that I can then extend this transition, this event, when this event is launched, will be linked to this point here. If I had another link here, I will have that the same event will go to 2 different states. So the framework wouldn't know actually where it should go. It should be deterministic. So when I have a state and an event, I need to transit to a specific event that it's a specific state, that it's determined only by the state and the event. So that's why I can only transfer here. So if you see this arrow, actually, this arrow is not triggering any event. So this is just a link that the framework uses. So it says, so as a conclusion, what this is saying is, when this state here launches event 3, I need to transit to this state here. So this is how it is defined. I mean, you can see that these final states are ignored afterwards. So it's just the way it's designed. It could have been designed in other way, like, not having these final states and just having these open arrows here, and you need to make sure to connect them. But the way it was decided to be implemented is to keep these dummy states here, or the generate states that do nothing. It's just for, how the framework is designed. But you need to think at this level here, that when you launch one state here, you want to transit to a specific state here, which in this case is state 2.1. This is like the possibly, the part of the framework that usually raises most questions, and sometimes it's a bit confusing. So that's why I wanted to present here. And I think that's everything from my side. Yes, let me present the disclaimer so that it's in the video. Thank you very much for attending this session.